Hi, good afternoon. Manoj Maiti, founder, MD of Healthcare Services, Maitis, legal entity named Just Caretakes Private Limited. Well, good part is that I don't have a PPT, right? And I find some young crowd over here, and it will be great to have some technology discussion, right? Can I have all the people with me for some time? Yes, no? Okay, great. Okay, see, it's a real privilege and honor to be here. And Dr. Chaudhary, you also mentioned that your father was a student, and same here. My father was a student of St. Xavier's maybe a few decades back, and he was from Sundarban. Maybe he was the first person from Sundarban Island to be here at Xavier's. Okay, and it's a privilege to be here again. Thank you, Baba. Maybe for you, I'm here. I'm talking about elder care services. He is now 78. Okay, see, before saying something about this elder care industry, largely Dr. Chaudhary and Dr. Talukdar has covered many points. So thank you very much. Let me give you some statistics. Okay, India is currently having 142 million elderly people, approximately 10% of total population. Right? You can Google it; you will get it. By 2050, India will be having approximately 34 crore, 340 million elderly people, which will be approximately 20%. So you can measure the growth, right? So India is the fastest aging country in the world. So now, let us understand their problems. If you talk about the problem statement of the elderly, so goes with the children, like who are there with them or maybe not there with them, away from the city, away from the state, away from the country, right? Now, the first problem which we have seen in this industry, that is the medical emergency care. That becomes the first. Maybe the children who is sitting in the states, it's late at night, all of a sudden he gets a call, there's the emergency back at home. Who is there to take care of? Right? It's just a very, very alarming situation for the elderly here, as well as for the children who are not there with them. Even though you are a children, you are with your parent, but still it's very, very difficult to take care of your medical emergency services, right? Because you are in the office, your boss is not letting you go, right? And maybe once you get the news, then it's beyond your golden hour. So that's a challenge. Second challenge many people talked about is the mental wellness of the elderly people. Even though you are there with them, joint family ache এখন খুব কম, right? Even though you are with them, if you are not with them, that's a different thing. Even though you are with them, still they are very lonely. Do you know who is the? Can you tell me who is the best friend of your elderly people? Any guesses? Anyone? No, it's TV. Right? It's TV. 72 million people, the state data says 72 million elderly people are lonely at any given point of time. This is absolutely alarming. Right? Sociology students, you bhalo kore shune nin egulo, because I'm giving you very, very relevant data and showing you the alarming picture of elderly care industry. Right? Now, so if we talk about the mental wellness, the people like your elderly parents or maybe your grandpa, at the time he was earning maybe 10,000 rupees, which was the highest salary in that bracket. Now you are spending 10,000 rupees per day. They cannot resonate with that. So even though you are there, still they are lonely because nobody is understanding their mental thought process. They cannot even speak their heart out because we, being the children or maybe the grandchildren, cannot resonate with their thoughts, right? So mental wellness is coming up huge. It's becoming very, very alarming in Indian elder landscape. Third point being their safety. Somebody talked about their safety issues, like if it is a major fall at the bathroom, sarakon shona jay, right? How to get a notification? Is there any process that you are the children who is not there with them? Or maybe the couple still there, but if it's a major fall at the bathroom, or maybe some other cases, if it is a late night, if it is a dementia patient, Dr. Chaudhary and Dr. Talukdar talked about this dementia and everything. If the person goes out, he is not been able to come back to his own house because he forgets almost everything, right? So, the major fall, the dementia, the panic attack, right? The emergency has to be enabled with technology, right? Now, the fourth point coming as getting the caregiver services. It's much talked about services, caregiver services. You need a nurse, you need an attendant, you need a doctor at home, you need a physiotherapist. It's very, very scared to get a doctor at home, right? Caregivers, no certification is there. It's just very, very alarming, because the people who are coming to your house, you don't know whether safety threat will be there, whether these people are enabled with the required skill set and all other certification. We don't know, because we are lacking these systems in our society till now. Another, which is again a very great point, right? So there is a daily hassles. Bari TV kharab hoye geche, right? AC is not working. Yeah, I need some cash from bank. All these are the hassles for the elderly people, right? So there are services. I'm not saying there are no services. Yeah, there are many services. The people are providing services in piecemeal format, right? So now the organization which is coming up maybe in a larger way. So people are talking about home healthcare services and all. But yes, the main thing which we need to look into, how technology can enable the graceful aging of our elderly people. Okay? Now, I'm coming one by one. I talked about medical emergency, I talked about emotional well-being, I talked about safety security, I talked about daily hassles and caregiver services, right? So now, how can you or maybe your grandparents or maybe your parents can be enabled with all the technology to get services as and when required, right? So now just think, in our era, we are getting groceries in 10 minutes, Blinkit, right? We are getting our drivers, our cars, maybe as and when required. But not the elderly care services. If it's a medical emergency, you get groceries in 10 minutes, but there is no one to take care of your parents. So this is a gap of technology, right? So people are talking about their luxury, maybe the groceries, maybe food and everything, but no one is talking about the elderly care services which can be given instantaneously. So there has to be some Uberization in elderly care. There has to be the process of urban company into elderly care. If it is a kind of medical emergency, if you being the children, you are not here with them, you should be enabled with a technology by which you will be able to get the services instantaneously without any human intervention. If it is a car to be, you are waiting for a car, you are getting these services without any human intervention. So the medical emergency services should be getting without any human intervention, right? And it should be across the globe, because there are 3.5. Sir would be agree with me that approximately 3.5 crore NRI children are there. Shobar Bauma ekhanei ache India te, right? And when here is morning, like you say the Ratri. So the time gap, time zone is different. So you should be having something, the access of the technology, that should work without any human intervention, right? You can Google that, Mytis is providing elder care services, elder tech services. It's a kind of mobile application which is something like Uberization in elder care. If it is a medical emergency, simply download the mobile application, get the services, get the person at home instantaneously, right? Now let's talk about the mental wellness.
I think we have to.
Okay. So mental wellness also, like there's a storytelling. Mama ma ekটু খবর কাগজ পড়তে যায়. He wants to write something, right? So your technology should be enabled with that. Now let's talk about that major fault, geofencing. For the dementia patient, we are using the gadgets. There should be some gadgets, or maybe if it is a kind of a fault, automatic notification has to go. Or else, 2-3 din baade ki hoy, pawa jay, the dead bodies. We find the dead bodies, right? So the devices which are coming up now, so the devices has to be there, right? So the technology. Now the doctors are not willing to go to visit, the elderly people at home. So that's again a very big challenge, Dr. Chaudhary. So we should be getting these services, and these are the challenges where caregivers, your physiotherapists, your doctors should be willing to visit the elder person's house. Because it's not only the OPD or the dispensary or the clinic where people will come and somebody will take him to those places where they will be getting the services. No. You should be having these sort of accesses. Our doctors, our caregivers should be at least that moral access to people for providing services at their houses. That is the big necessity, right? So talk about technology. The technology we should adapt. We are facing some challenges that technology has not been adapted by the elderly, though they are having 76% access of the mobile smartphone access. But still, we need to encourage our parents or grandparents to have that mobile access, right? And we, being the children, should encourage our parents to enable and to get the services through, tech-based applications and all these things. Thank you very much. I guess let us work together. You being the sociology students and all, let us join hands. To do something more in this elder care, because this is a kind of an evolving industry. We need more people to be in, right? So the young minds, young people should be there in this industry to take care of. Thank you very much.